responded, Coast Guard responded, Bay Village Police responded. Every effort was made possible to reclaim them, attempt some life-saving measures. The lake conditions, as you see now, are horrific. They were worse last night than what they are today. It should be known that a beach hazard warning was sent out. The lake was not favorable for swimming. Anybody that goes in those conditions obviously is putting themselves at risk. And these two individuals, for whatever reason, decided to go in, and now here we are. So again, that happened at 5:36, and then at 7:21 p.m., a 60-year-old male at the Edgewater Pier somehow, some way, left the pier and ended in the water. We still don't know exactly what transpired or what caused him to enter the water. Cleveland Fireboat was shortly on scene, was able to actually see the male underneath the water and at the surface, but due to the lake conditions, they were not able to get close enough to effect a rescue. Our police boat has been out since the early hours of this morning looking for this individual. The search continues for that male. The search today has been called off due to the weather conditions and will resume again tomorrow morning in the early morning hours. We had multiple units from multiple jurisdictions engaged in this effort. Every resource available was called into action. We did it from the air, we did it on land, we did it in sea, and still we will continue and hopefully be able to bring closure to these families and get them back to their loved ones. So that's what we know right now. I'm willing to answer any questions you folks may have. At this scene, we have drones. There was a helicopter last night from the United States Coast Guard. Men on foot, men in the water, and then at Edgewater right now, it's just being done by our police boat. One thing I want to bring up that I didn't mention, such hazardous beach conditions, I actually spoke to some members of the dive rescue team that were in the water, and they told me they had 14 individuals tethered together, and they were actually being pulled out into the lake. So you can only imagine 14 grown men actually tethered in full rescue gear being pulled out by a riptide, what these two subjects incurred yesterday. Well, anytime the National Weather Service issues a beach weather advisory due to rip currents, you got to pay attention. The conditions are bad. Don't go in the lake. You're putting yourself at risk and anybody else for that matter.
I know it seems like common sense, but how do people know that the conditions are too bad for them to be in the lake?
Well, I would hope one would visually observe the conditions of the lake. We have a big sign right by all staircases that say you're swimming at your own risk. It clearly identifies the hours of the lifeguards. The lifeguards were not on duty yesterday, and so people that go in are, they're taking a chance. Well, the first thing, I would rely on good common sense, and good common sense would say don't go in the lake. There's all kinds of warnings. If it's rough, stay out. There's plenty of other areas to go get into water. But the Lake Erie is a great resource we have. It's a beautiful lake, but it's just as dangerous as the ocean, the Caribbean. Rip currents are everywhere. It doesn't matter. So don't go in the water when it's like this. Well, I would assume tomorrow morning we'll close again Huntington and this north area due to the recovery effort. And then after that, it'll be up to the experts to decide if they want to continue the search or deploy more resources. I mean, we have everything available to us that was here this morning. There was multiple agencies involved in this. So we had all the equipment. It's just with the conditions, it's too dangerous for them to even recover the victims, which is really unfortunate. But we have to call it on safety.
19 and 22-year-olds, any relationship, were they friends?
I believe they were related. When I spoke to the mother and sister, they were very upset naturally. But if I recall correctly, I believe they were related. No, the family, I felt horrible. They told me they were from the Portage Lakes area, and I asked them, well, how did the boys get up here? And they said they just loved Huntington Beach. They loved everything that the Metroparks had to offer, and this is one of their favorite spots to come. So,
How does it make you feel that the Metroparks are a place that people come to enjoy and that you talk to a couple that's been coming for decades?
well, it's horrible for us. We don't want to be together, all of us, under these conditions, but it's, it's unfortunate, and it's a fact of life and things that we have to deal with. But, we all have to learn from mistakes that people make, and if there was a mistake made, it was unfortunately they went into water on a day that they shouldn't have been. So I'm not putting blame on them, but we certainly, for everybody else that's watching, the lake's rough. Don't go. Don't even get near it. Wait for another day.
You guys have lifeguards certain parts of the year, but at some points you don't really have lifeguards. Talk to me a little bit about it. It's like a go at your own risk type of situation.
Sure. Well, any body of water such as this, as you swim at your own risk, we have specific areas that are designated swimming areas that are guarded, and they're seasonal employees, mainly college students that are very well experienced lifeguards, but they only work from a certain date to a certain date. And right now it's always through the second weekend of August. It has been like that traditionally for several years. Those college students go back to school, and then therefore we don't have any more lifeguards available. So the signs are readily available. You can read them. And obviously you don't see the big white towers with the lifeguards in their bright red suits with the megaphones, so it's an unguarded area. Be very, very cautious.
Last question for me. Recovery, how long is, let's say you start the recovery tomorrow, how long is that going to take? How until you guys decide to start up?
I'll defer that to my expert, Captain Shabitzer.
I just have one question. Can you speak to, did anyone see them go under? Was it one in distress, the other one going after the other?
No, they were both, I spoke to I believe it was the sister, and they both were waded into the water about waist deep. They were just wearing shorts. I mean, it was a nice hot day yesterday, but the lake was horrible. And then they got sucked in. And then there were witnesses that called 911 right away. So, there was nobody else available to put themselves in peril and try and effect a rescue.
As far as the search efforts go, so, day one, last night, Bay Village Fire deployed rescue swimmers right off the rip. We tried to put in divers with limited success. Just the wave action did not allow us to get divers underwater. We continued with rescue swimmers, drones, and Coast Guard boat, as well as our police boat in the water. Today, we deployed line searches of people, swimmers walking through the water and those areas. We did have a little bit more success today diving. We checked a couple areas along piers that we wanted to, but again, because of the wave action, we were only able to check the west side. The east side was being hit by waves. So tomorrow, the water does look a little bit more favorable. It's a south wind at 5 miles per hour. So we hope to again deploy divers tomorrow. And a big element is sonar. We have not been able to deploy sonar because of the wave actions. So tomorrow we will again have our boat out, as well as Ohio Department of Natural Resources boat out to deploy sonar. How far will we keep going? Tomorrow we'll know a little bit better how the day goes. We'll deploy divers again. We'll deploy the boat. We do have to take into account the rip current, and we'll look at some resources from the Coast Guard as far as drift analysis and go from there. So.
You underscore how victims were just in at their waist, which I think a lot of people would feel like would be safe. Can you underscore how dangerous this return is, that even if you're at your limits, there's no safe place?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both the waves pushing you as well as the undercurrents pulling you. So it's very easy to lose your footing and get pulled away, and then as the wave action happens, you just can't regain your footing. Excuse me. But something to note, as the chief mentioned, is our line search. So we had 14 men and women lined up, locked arm in arm, going east to west, and they still felt themselves, even locked arm to arm, getting pulled north further into the lake. So that's the best example I can get of how strong the rip currents were last night and both today as well. Sure, it's Captain Ken Shabitzer, SCHABITZER. Yep, Cleveland Metroparks Police, and I'm our dive team coordinator. So.
Well, you know, the Metroparks, I would say, is the experts in protecting and providing great service for all the reservations. And I think we're doing everything that we possibly can. We have signage that is huge. We have lifeguards that work on a seasonal basis, the same year in, year out. We have the National Weather Service that is giving everybody alerts on their cell phones. I mean, we're doing everything humanly possible. We also have to rely on people's good common sense to make good, sound decisions about when to enter the water. We can't control that. We do everything we can. We're so empathetic to the people that are victims here. But you know, the Metroparks can only do so much, and I think we're doing everything humanly possible. Technology, signage, officers patrolling, lifeguards. It comes to a point where the rest is on the person themselves. So.